Hey, Real Green Ninja here. The video you're about to watch is a supplement to the existing tutorials and help videos already available on the Real Green website. I do take a more casual approach because I'm presenting this information as I would if you called in, although I may have a little fun with it. This video is based upon the information I, as a Real Green technician, would provide using my experience on the help desk. This video was created on my own time to assist with areas of the software that may be waiting for an official help video or tutorial. At the beginning of the training video, I will have the version of the Service Assistant the video was made with. I will also try to be as accurate as possible, but be aware, as Service Assistant updates are released, things may change. I'm using the name Real Green Ninja as not to stand out from the other amazing technicians that I work with. I hope the information in this video helps you, so grab a cup of coffee and I hope you learn something new. Hey, Real Green Ninja here. Today we're going to do a crash course on Measurement Assistant, so let's begin. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of is Measurement Assistant is an additional cost. It's above and beyond the support you pay for the software, or if you're a host of your monthly fee. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, I am not part of the sales department. I am not trying to sell you guys these things. I just show you these features so you're aware what the software is capable of and what features it has, because I think it might save you guys time and money. All right. Now, one thing to be aware of too is that because there's a charge to it, you can control what employees have access to it. Now, there's two different types of licenses. So if we go to data, company parameters, and I'm going to go to security levels. You can also do it for individual employees as well, but go to all rights and then other security. You'll see right now my all rights, which is what I'm currently logged in with, because, well, it's my database, has access to Measurement Assistant in any or either of the licenses. Now, if we go into edit mode, you'll see the two that they describe are transaction and subscription. The way it works is if you do transactional, you actually prepay for the transactions. You buy these transactions ahead of time. Again, I am not part of sales. I have absolutely no clue how much these things cost. All I know is you buy them in buckets. You know, you buy like 100 or 200 or 250 or 500. Again, I don't know exactly, what the pricing scheme and stuff is. I have been told too that the more you buy at one time, the cheaper they become per transaction. So again, I can't really tell or vouch for that information other than the fact that that's what I've been told. The other type of license is called subscription. Now, the way subscription works is you get unlimited measurements up to, and please be aware, this is 7/30/2015, and this is where it is right this moment, and it can change, up to 200 a day. All right. So again, you usually buy the subscription based upon the year, so you buy like a year's worth, and then again, you can do up to, again, right now, 200 measurements per day. That may change. Just be aware of that. Okay. So again, you can control it either on the security level or inside the employees themselves. And I do have one about how to add employees, and I talk about security, for individual employees and so on and so forth. Now, another thing you can do is you can also check to see how many transactions you have. Now, again, this is my test data. I have a testing token, which allows me to go through and do troubleshooting and stuff like that. Again, I try not to use it that much in Service Assistant itself with these videos because, again, Real Green, can get charged for these transactions. So again, I am very, very careful doing it for the video. So I'm not going to do a lot of videos about Measurement Assistant. That's why I'm doing this one right here. But pretty much if you want to see where your transactions are, you can go to Tools, Options, and then RGS License Usage Summary. This will let you go through it and see how many transactions you have left if you have prepaid. If you don't have the prepaid transactions, then you have a subscription, and it will tell you, how many have been used for the subscription. Again, right now, I'm using a testing token, so you'll see, here's my subscription so far today uses 0. All right. So as I was saying is that, you can check to see where you're at, and then if necessary, order more transactions. Or if your subscription expires, you can go and again talk to sales and see about getting new ones. So again, talk to sales. They're the ones that actually can give you pricing and stuff like that. Now, let's get to the Measurement Assistant itself. Now, Measurement Assistant itself is actually for measuring properties. It gives you an overhead image, and it allows you to go through and cut out certain features and add other features and so on and so forth. There are other sites out there. There is Find Lot Size. There's a couple other softwares out there that will let you do measurements. But one thing that the Measurement Assistant has over all the rest of them is the integration with the Service Assistant software. All right. So again, I'll be showing you some of those features when we get to that point. But like I said, it's the integration that really, really makes it a powerful tool. All right, and you may ask yourself, well, why do I want to pay for the measurement assistant if I can do it for free somewhere else, or just go out to the property to measure myself? Well, again, with the measurement assistant, you get the integration. That's the advantage over the other websites and other softwares. But as far as going out to the property itself, how much time and money is it going to take you to drive out to that property, gather the information, size and everything, drive back to the office, and put the information in the system? So again, if you're going out to the neighborhood and you're going to be doing 100 properties, okay, yeah, you're going to save money by walking out there and kind of eyeballing or measuring the 100 properties. But if it's a case where you're doing like an individual property, yeah, it's going to probably take you more time, more money just to get into your car and start it up by the time you actually get out to the property and stuff like that. So again, like I said, it's the integration and the timing and the time savings that really make it useful for you. Now, when you want to access Measurement Assistant, you're going to hit this little magnifying glass with the arrows when you're actually on a customer's account. So let's say this customer here called my office up, said, "Hi, this is Daniel Johnson. I'm kind of wondering, I saw your truck. I'm kind of interested in your lawn care program. I'm kind of curious how much it's going to cost," and so on and so forth. Or let's say you get a customer list from Real Green or another third party or something, and you import the customers. You can go through and measure out these properties before even calling up the person, because that way you can give a price right there. Now, if the customer calls you up and they're not in the system, if you do a search for the customer and they don't show up, then you can go through and just quickly add them, either using the lightning bolt, the quick estimate entry, and again, I do have a video talking about that, or on the customer screen, just hit the new button and add them as a new account. But their address has to be in the system for you to be able to pull them up in Measurement Assistant, but usually you can knock that out pretty quick. All right, so again, here's a customer that's in the system. They have no size. When you want to access Measurement Assistant, you can do it in one of two ways. You can either click with your left mouse button on this online tools, and again, you see that we actually put in what we call links of convenience. If I were to click the Google Maps, it will actually take me out to Google Maps for this address. Find lot size will take me out to Find Lot Size, which again is one of those sites that you can do measurements, but it doesn't have the integration. Bing Maps or Zillow. Now, these four links here, these are what I call links of convenience, in that we do not support the actual websites that they go out to. Again, it's just convenient to throw that address into that website. A little while ago, probably early 2015, Find Lot Size forgot to pay for their domain. They forgot to pay for their website's name. And what ended up happening is we got a ton of phone calls saying, "Hey, you guys, your Find Lot Size is broken." And I really hated to tell people, it's not our website. Find Lot Size is not ours. Measurement Assistant is our site, or is our utility. So again, this we will support. We will help you with that. So again, like I said, there's two ways. First, you can left click and it will give you the menu. The other way is you can use your right mouse button and right click it, and we'll throw it right into Measurement Assistant for you. Now, a couple things to be aware of. Also, we do not control how old these pictures are at Real Green. All right, these are actually pictures taken from aerial flyovers. Someone paid for it, and it's usually like the city or the county, and they usually pay for the flyovers for tax purposes. Make sure you don't have swimming pools, and kind of eyeball the estimate property or value of your property and stuff like that. So again, unfortunately, Real Green can't control how old these pictures are. Now, also down here in the lower right-hand corner, we're not allowed to call it by its name. Again, they sign my paychecks. I don't question why. So if you ever call and talk to me, I'm going to call it the third-party image provider. All right, but it will show you how old that picture is. Again, we can't control it because it's paid for by someone else. Now, if it's a case where these pictures are way too old, then you're probably going to want to contact your local county or city or whoever would pay for that type of flyover, and then call them up and say, "Hey guys, you might want to get those pictures updated." Now, from my understanding, these pictures are also used by like police departments and other agencies and stuff like that to kind of get the lay of the land when they need to issue a warrant or something like that, or serve a warrant or something. All right. Now, also you'll notice on mine here, it actually has a green shape already in there. Now, this information is provided by this third party, all right? Again, it's one of those things where we don't provide the information. You'll notice this shape does not look right. It's not going up to the street and stuff. Again, we don't control this initial shape right here. I will be showing you how to alter it, but like I said, unfortunately, we don't actually control the shape. Now, as far as navigating in the Measurement Assistant, if you scroll back on your mouse wheel, it will actually zoom out. If you push forward in your mouse wheel, it will zoom in. Sometimes this can be kind of sensitive, so be aware that you might have to do small little movements with your mouse wheel, depending on what kind of mouse and stuff you have. And I think there's a window sitting in there you can change and adjust the sensitivity. Again, that's something you'd have to talk to your IT person about, because that's more of a hardware thing. But like I was saying, you can zoom in and zoom out. Now, if it turns out the case where you can't see the whole property, you notice there's kind of like a green area, and I also can hold my left mouse button and move stuff around like this. Okay, but if you need to, you can actually hit this little expand button here. All right. Now, unfortunately, I think it shows below the view, but if I hover over it, it says request larger image to work with. When I click it, what it's going to do is going to grab the next set of tiles. All right. Now, you can do that a couple times. I think it's like 3 or 4 times. Don't quote me on it. But you can expand out and grab more tiles if you can't see the whole property. All right. Now, there are some properties I've gone into that got the largest picture possible because the property is so large. There's other ones where, again, like I said, you can go 3 or 4 times. Again, I don't know the exact number, but like I said, you can expand it out if you want to. All right. Now, again, as far as navigation, down here you'll see this little plus minus looking, or this plus looking arrow thing here. If it's on that, this is where it will let you actually move it around. I'm holding my left mouse button and moving it around. Now, obviously you can see the property here. Like I said, the initial shape is there. Not every property has that initial shape. Again, it's kind of hit or miss. We can't control it, but if there is one, it'll put it in there for you. Now you'll notice right now the size, this little push pin little indicator thing here. This is the size that's currently on the customer screen. It's 0. But you'll notice in the upper right hand corner here, the size is showing is 15.78. That 15.78 is this initial green shape. Again, the shape is not where it needs to be because it's not going up to the road, and we probably service towards the road. So what we can do is we can hit this little pencil with a paper icon, and what that will do is it will create these little dots on whatever shapes are currently on there. And what those dots are spots that we can grab and move things around. So I can grab this dot here and move it up to the road. Again, sometimes you might be lucky and it might be right where it needs to be. Other times, maybe not so lucky. All right. So again, we can move it up the road. Now you'll notice in the upper right hand corner, we're now at 16.91, but when I move that dot, that 16.91 becomes 17.01. So again, the shapes are going to affect what the total size is currently showing as. This one is a little bit harder because you got some trees and stuff. You really can't tell if that's actually the fence line or whatever. Again, it's one of those things you might be a little bit more familiar with the neighborhood, but to me, it kind of looks like there's a fence that goes there. It also makes sense because originally the shape wasn't right up to the street. So again, I kind of pulled it in a little bit, and now we're down to 15.43. Okay, now that we have the initial shape where it needs to be, now we can start cutting or adding to the size. Now, if you don't have that initial shape, then you can put it in place, okay? Now, depending on how nitty-gritty, I mean, you can, like I said, you can zoom in and zoom out. If you're doing something over the phone, you might do it really quickly just because, you're just kind of giving them a quick price or something. But if you want to get, like I said, really nitty-gritty, you can, like, really zoom in and, do these shapes. Or you can zoom out and just kind of do, like, a rough, quick and dirty measurement, and then say, okay, well, it looks like it's going to be X amount of dollars, and it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less until we actually do it, and then, like I said, it's up to you guys. All right. So now that we have the initial shape where it needs to be, actually, I want to move that a little bit here. Again, I tend to be a little bit more on the pickier side myself. Okay, but again, we move that shape, and again, it'll adjust the size. Now, when you want to subtract something from the size, you're going to see in the lower left-hand corner, we have a plus and minus button. We're going to hit the subtract button. Again, there is a hover little thing that pops up when you put your mouse over it. I don't think you can see it, or maybe you might be able to see the very top of it. So again, these buttons will define or let you know what they are. Plus, obviously, is going to add to the size. Minus is going to subtract from the size. And I'll show you why you might use it in a certain way or whatever. But again, let's go ahead and cut out the house in the driveway. So pretty much I'm going to click on the minus because I want to remove or cut out the house of the driveway. And I'm going to do the multi-sided shape. That's this one right here. If you're lucky, these, the house and stuff might actually be pretty perpendicular. And you could use like the square, or maybe if they have like a, like a tree or something, or a flower bed or whatever, you can use the oval, or maybe even a circular pool or something like that. Again, you can use the oval or whatever. But these are the different shapes that you can choose. Most people tend to use the multi-sided shape because, again, like this house here, it's not nice and convenient, perpendicular or lined up and everything. All right, so when I want to cut something out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract multi-sided shape. I'm going to click with my left mouse button and make my first dot. Now, what it's going to do is as I move my mouse button, it's going to draw a line, and then until I click again. So I'm going to go like click, 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 click. All right, so every time I stop my mouse, I'm clicking so I can change the angle of the line. Again, depending how precise you want, you can do it really quickly, or you can, take your time and do it. Again, I'm not going to take a ton of time doing it, and then you might end up having a nice little straight line like that, nice little straight line like that, nice little straight line like that, and then, of course, we can grab the house here. I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to start getting a little sloppy here. That actually kind of looks like a flower bed. I probably wouldn't be doing that one. And then, of course, I'm going to finish it off. I'm going to go towards my end here, and then click, click, click. And then when I get to my almost to the last spot, okay, where I started, I'm going to double click and it's going to close that shape. It will tell you what the area is, but it will also subtract that area from the total size. Now you say, well, wait a minute, why didn't you cut out that sidewalk? Some people like to have each little unique item cut out so you can see what the different sizes are and stuff. But if I want to remove that size, then I can, or remove that sidewalk, then I can just turn around and go through and remove it. Again, when I get to the almost to the last point before I, where I started, double click, it closes the shape, and again, it's going to subtract from the size. Now, there's a little strip that looks like lawn. So this might be a little bit of grass that we might actually treat. So what we can do is I can hit the plus sign, all right? And then, again, I can choose my shape or whatever I want to do. Again, I'm going to do multi-side drawing tool, and I'm going to click and draw my green shape. Green adds to the overall size, red subtracts. So like if maybe they had like a courtyard or something or whatever, I can put that green there and it's going to add to the size of the property. All right. Now, once I have all my features mapped out and stuff, what I can do is I can now hit the save icon, this little computer disk down here. I'm going to hit save changes, and what it's going to do is going to pop up this window. If I click yes, which I'm going to, the customer's main screen will now have this size. If I click no, obviously it won't. So I click yes, and now you'll see that little number here in the push pin change from 0, which what it originally was, to that 9.7 I did. Now, if you make a mistake in the shape, unfortunately there's not an undo last shape arrow type thing, but if you accidentally make a mistake, let's say, oh, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to click on that. What you can do is you can cross over one of the lines that on the shape you're drawing, double click, it's going to warn you that they cannot cross. All right, it must be in closed area, and you click OK, and it's going to remove that shape. If it closes and it's a valid shape, unfortunately, the only way to remove any shapes that have been closed is hitting this little eraser button. Okay, this little like black and white thing that looks like an old school eraser. If I click on that, it's going to reset the screen back to where it was when I first got into the measurement assistant. So it will have that initial shape that I originally saw, and it will be shifted a little bit to the right, and I'll start over and stuff like that. Now, one thing to be aware of, though, again, because this size here is on the main customer screen now, even if I clear out the shapes, the main customer screen will still say 9.7. This push pin will still say 9.7 because, again, the size hasn't changed until I were to go save it by doing a new measurement or something. Okay, now I got the shapes in here. I got everything, where I want it to be. The size looks about right and everything. What I can do is I can hit this little cropping tool. So it looks like a little diamond here with a line in it, almost kind of like a bow and arrow type thing. And I can click on it and then click some corner and then draw this yellow square. Everything within this yellow square will then be saved to the Diagrams and Documents tab of the customer screen if I hit Save Changes. It'll actually pop up this window here. It's going to ask you what category you want to give it, as well as a friendly description. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you have different categories for different things. Again, in this one, I might do MEA image, and I'm going to be showing you how to do like the nice front door image for like prepay letters and stuff. But I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to do that as a different category because it just makes it easier to find. You might even do something like MEA size shapes image. Again, you can create your own category for the linked documents. And again, I do have a video talking about linked documents. You can always check that one out. So again, you can put your friendly description and maybe size shapes. Okay, there we go. And then once you have all that in there, hit Save Image, and now it's part of that customer's record under the customer's diagram and documents. In fact, if I even go to the customer's diagram and documents, you'll see there it is. The reason why it's a good idea to save that with all the shapes and everything is because let's say your boss comes up to you and says, hey, why is this person's property 9.7? You can actually go right to this picture and say, oh, this is what we measured out. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Again, you'll see that the customer size has been changed to 9.7. Now, one thing I also want you to be aware of, we are still in the one transaction. Remember I talked about transaction stuff? We are still in that one transaction. We've only are using one so far. All right. Now, once you have all your shapes and everything, another cool feature you can do is you can actually change the angle of the picture. So you'll see there's this little icon that looks like a camera. When I click the camera, it's going to take a few moments, and it's going to load it up again. But now you're going to have this nice front door type of view. Now, again, this one's on a little, on the side of the house. I don't particularly care the side of the house. So I can use these arrows here to rotate it counterclockwise or clockwise, or just flip it 180. I'm going to try rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise, and let's see, take a look at the picture. Doop, 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 doop. There we go. So again, that's a nice picture of that person's property. All right. So I can take a screen capture just like I did with the overhead image using that little cropping tool, the little diamond tool down here. I can take an image of this property. Now maybe I want to do it of the backyard. So again, I can flip it around because I want to show the backyard that we plan to service. Again, it's up to you to decide which one you want to use. Actually, I like that front door image a little bit better. All right. So once you have it in the position you want, once you have the view, and like I said, now we can take a picture for your prepay letters or, for some reference or whatever. But you know what? I don't like that little, marker there. So what I can do is I can click this button right here to hide the customer's marker so you have a nice clean image. I'm going to click the cropping tool here. I'm going to, again, grab a corner, draw my square, hit the save button. It asks me where I want. Again, this is why it's a good idea to have a separate category. And again, we might, you can, do whatever you want as far as the description. There we go. And again, once everything looks good, you hit save. And now, again, like I said, is part of that person's customer history, of our diagrams, documents, sorry, part of that customer's account. Now, as I mentioned before, a customer might call you up and say, hey, I'm interested in your services or whatever. So what you might do is you're going to create the address, and then once you create the address, you do the measurements. You go to this image, you do all your measurements and everything like that. Then when the customer says, or then you say, okay, well, I got a quick estimate of the size of your property. I want to show you, or I want to tell you about what we're offering. You can hit this little pile of gold coins which says create a quick estimate. When we click the pile of gold coins, it's going to take us into the same screen that you can get to by clicking this button right here, this calculate suggested service price. Actually, let's do that. There we go. So again, this button here and that calculate suggested service price are the same screen. So when I click on it, it's going to pop up this here, and it's going to show me what the prices are based off of that customer size. Now, if you don't have the customer size, again, like I said, this is the same screen you get off the main customer screen. You can also tell it to use size from neighbors or use price for neighbors, but you just did a measurement, so why would you use the neighbors? All right. So again, you can go through and select what you want to offer. Now, maybe you're offering the lawn care program. That's what they're calling about. You can go actually select the program that you want to choose. It's going to take all the rounds of that lawn care program that it can price. It's going to throw it up again the total price. Let's say I also want to offer this person an aeration or a grub control. I can again go through and check mark what service or services I want to try to sell this customer. Now, as far as the pricing is concerned, though, the system has to be able to calculate, which means the services you want to offer have to be tied to a price table. If your company does not use price tables, unfortunately, you will not be able to use this feature because, again, this is going off of a price table on how much it would cost for this customer. All right. So again, you can check mark which ones you want, and so on and so forth. And you tell the customer, say, well, for lawn care, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. But if you also want a grub control, for lawn care grub control, it'll be $290.99. But today we're having a prepay offer. If you pay everything in advance, you'll save 5%, which will be save you $14.53. So it'll be $276.46. All right. Or you can turn around and say, well, and, because you're friends or family, you can give a friends or family discount. Again, you can go through and pick and choose different discounts and different setups and so on and so forth. But like I was saying, and unfortunately, it looks like my friends and family was pretty much 100% off or something like that. So let's choose something different. How about 20% discount? There we go. So again, you'll see $290.99, but we're giving a 20% discount as well, 5%. So again, your total cost would be $221.14. If you want to, we can even split up into 10 equal payments of $22.11. Again, obviously, if you don't do installments or contract billing, you wouldn't use that. But again, like I said, it's, there's a bunch of different options and everything in here. You can even manually put in the size if you really wanted to. But again, like I said, this was, the same screen off the main customer screen. But since you already got the size for the measurements, why bother, changing that type of stuff? All right. If the customer says, yeah, that's a great idea, could you, I want to sign up for them, then you can actually hit the Add Services button. If you hit the Add Services button, it will actually create the program job screens for anything that you have checkmarked, the lawn care program or the grub control, anything you have checkmarked, it will create the job screen, and then you can fill in the salespeople person information and so on and so forth, save it, and boom, now they have that job on their screen. But let's say they ask you, say, hey, could you send me a letter with that information? Oh, sure, no problem. What we can do is we can hit this little paper icon, all right? You hit this little paper icon, it's going to ask you, do you want to create the marketing version of the letter or not? When you're doing prepay letters, there's two different versions. One is a marketing version, one is a regular prepay letter. The marketing version, again, like that screen I just showed you, uses the price table, so the system has to be able to do price tables. The regular version of the prepay letter, or if I were to click no, is based upon the services that they currently have on the screen. It's going to show that pricing. But because this is a new customer and does not have anything on the screen, I want to do the marketing one because I have to have it calculate our prices. And this is where I can go through, open up the marketing prepay letter screen, go through, check mark what I want, and so on and so forth, upsell neighbors, so on and so forth, hit my letter options. Again, I'm just going to grab some things here real quick. All right. Now, if this is not a prepay letter, if this is just one of those things that call you up and you're not giving you sort of discount, then you can just tell it to eliminate prepay text and checkboxes, as well as you wouldn't give it any discount. And then you can turn around, yeah, whatever, 2 weeks later from now. Oh, no, maybe not. You know why? Because I was trying to do everything. Darn it. Let's go ahead and pick the fertilizer or lawn care program and that grub control. Like I said, all this is one take. All right, there you go. Preview. And I did do a video crash course on prepay letters. You might want to check that one out, and it goes in more detail about the options. I'm not going to go into everything. All right, so let's see your preview. So then you can turn around and send them something that looks like this. All right. So again, depending on how you have things set up, like I have one of my rounds I don't have tied to a price chart, so something that's free. And again, you create their text. Like I said, watch the video about prepay letters or whatever, and then you can go through. And again, like my business is blank and stuff, so I always double check that type of stuff. But like I was saying, is that you can actually generate a prepay letter. If the customer has an email address, you can even throw that email address on here and then turn around and email it to them. So depending how fast you get, you could literally, within 10 minutes of the person calling you or you answering the phone, add the account to the system, measure out the person's property, and then actually have an email sitting in their inbox with a letter saying this is what we want to offer you. All right. As with a lot of things in software, a lot of that stuff you have to have set up. You have the price table set up to the pricing and so on and so forth. You get that letter text set up because it's a letter or whatever. But like I said, you can do quite a bit. That's the integration. This is the part I'm talking about that makes this software or the measurement system so powerful and what gives it an advantage over things like fine lot size. All right. A couple other features of the measurement assistant. Is you can turn around and actually pull up accounts that are in the system as well. So you can see what neighbors and stuff they have by hitting this little show neighborhood markers. And again, you don't see the little drop down menu that thing. You'll notice over here we now have this yellow thing. Unfortunately, my picture is not big enough to show it. Maybe I can actually knock that out. There we go. Yeah, one more there. Okay, I guess unfortunately it's too far on the edge. But again, it will actually show you people you currently have in Service Assistant. You can say, oh, let's see how many people are around this person. Wow, there's quite a few, or there's not a lot. Maybe we need to market a little bit more. Now, again, this is an additional cost above and beyond the Service Assistant and above and beyond the Measurement Assistant, but you got to have Measurement Assistant to use it. But they have a thing called Marketing Customer Transactions, which is also referred to as the Marketing Universe. I can go through and add neighbors that I do not currently have in my database to my database. All right. Again, this is an additional cost above and beyond the Service Assistant, above and beyond the Measurement Assistant, and you have to have Measurement Assistant to use it. But when I tell it to show neighborhood markers, what I can do is I can then hit this house with a plus sign. Again, you don't see the little drop-down menu that appears. It says enable the right mouse button to add neighbor properties to the Marketing Universe. When I click that button and it's clicked, that means now I can right-click a neighbor that's not currently in my database. When I right-click it, it says add this property to Marketing Universe. Again, like with this Measurement Assistant, this will use transactions. I don't believe they have a subscription for the Marketing Universe, but it is transactional. So again, keep in mind, this would be using up transactions for the Marketing Universe. All right. So I click that. Now, when I click it, you'll see it's going to do a little bit of thinking, but what it's going to do is it's going to go out to Real Green servers and say, hey, whose property is this? Now, it doesn't always have the person's name. All right. But it usually has at least the address, the city, state, and so on and so forth. Now, all I need to do is click and choose my source. So again, I might create a source called Neighbors from Measurement Assistant or something like that. And again, keep in mind, you can always turn around and change it. All right, so let me just go ahead and mark it as an in-house, okay? Again, I can change residential, commercial. I can tie it to a branch, and I'm not sure why my branches aren't showing up. I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. Mr., Mrs., so on and so forth. Once I have all that in there, you'll also see there's an option that says Measure Next. If that is check marked, I can then use the green arrows that will appear in a moment here and actually go to that next property, this neighbor. But keep in mind, I'm still in the one transaction. As soon as I close this window by hitting the X here or go to a different property, that will start another transaction. All right. But like I was saying, you're going to go through, select your, criteria and stuff like that. And again, I'm not sure why it's not showing the company and stuff, but I should have that done button up here. Why isn't my done button appearing? I'm going to pause this here. Well, that's a disadvantage of doing these as one takes and not really, going through it in dry runs or anything. Apparently, something's going on. I mean, it's entirely possible my subscription might be expired or something. I'm going to have to talk to someone in our QA department and give them a heads up on that, and I'm going to try this at work. So, again, normally what should happen is you only should have to pick a source, and once you pick a source, this Done button will activate, and then you click the Done button, and then what it's going to do is it's actually going to add that as an account into the system with whatever your next account number would be. So again, I do apologize. I wish I could show you that. Unfortunately, with test data and stuff, sometimes there might be something I don't have set up. And again, I've already been on this for half an hour. I'm not going to redo everything because most of the other information is still valid. All right, so like I was saying, is you do have the ability to do measurement or Marketing Universe. Unfortunately, for right now, for some reason, I can't on mine. All right, so again, this is kind of a crash course. There are a few other features, but we're already pushing over half an hour, and some of those features are the more advanced ones. But if you knew about custom proposals and stuff, the master link documents, you can actually embed the image in master link document. I do want to show you here really quick is if you do end up doing a prepay letter like this, you can go and tell it to use the property image window. Go to the images, tell it to embed an image, and then select what your category is. And again, this is why it's a good idea to have a separate category for that. So that way, might help if I actually pick there we go. So that way, makes it, like I said, it makes it easier to find the picture, and there's that nice picture that you can put on your letter. All right. So, like I said, there's a couple other features in here. Again, this is more of a crash course than the full 100% everything through it type of stuff. But like I said, it's a very powerful part of the software, and what makes it really, really powerful is the integration that it gives you. So one more thing I want to show you. If for some reason this picture is not a good picture or it's way too old, maybe it's a new subdivision, you can switch your image providers by hitting this little double camera icon. It's going to go to Bing satellite maps. Unfortunately, the satellite maps tend to not be as good as resolution, but sometimes it might be a little better of a picture. Now, the one thing about the Bing maps is, you can really zoom out because, again, these are satellite maps, not the aerial photographs. So, again, unfortunately, you don't get as nice of a picture. But like I said, sometimes you can zoom in, and sometimes the picture will clear up depending on the resolution. But like I was saying, is you can actually switch your provider. So, like I said, right now we're in the one transaction. When I click this X, that's it. That's my end of my transaction. And I've used one of my transactions. All right. Again, if I were to flip to a different address, that would also use another transaction. So keep that in mind. If I were to go to the next address in line and then come back to this one, that's going to be 3 transactions. One for the one opening up, second one for the neighbor, and then another one to go back. So like I said, just keep that in mind. So, all right. Other than that, I hope that helps. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. Oh, I also did do this video because there is one for Measurement Assistant, but it's a little bit on the other side and the buttons have changed. So I always recommend watching the official video. Have a good day.